All right, so you're here because, let's be honest, you want to know what's actually going on in crypto, right? Like what really matters.
Anything to do with the noise.
Exactly. You don't have time for all the fluff. You
Yeah.
want the insights, the stuff that's actually going to, shape the future. And today we're diving deep into a move that, well, frankly, it's got everyone talking.
It's a big one.
It is. Tether's been making some serious waves recently, and we're talking about their Bitcoin buying spree, like a massive Bitcoin acquisition.
Serious.
Yeah, and we're going to unpack all of that right here. So for those of you who've been living under a rock, Tether's the company behind USDT.
A stablecoin, yeah.
Yeah, right? The biggest one out there, pegged to the US dollar, launched back in 2014, been a cornerstone of the crypto world ever since.
Totally.
And get this, they just bought 8,888 Bitcoin. I know, right? That brings their total stash to 92,647 Bitcoin.
It's a lot of Bitcoin.
It is. It's enough to make them the 6th largest Bitcoin wallet on the entire planet.
Top 10.
Top 10. We're talking about serious holdings here. Something like $7.64 billion worth.
Yeah, that's not chump change.
Not at all. And here's the thing that makes it even more interesting. They're not just stacking sats. They've been branching out.
Diversifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like they made a huge investment in Agro.
Agriculture in Latin America.
Right. And then there's their involvement with Water in Italy.
Media company.
Media. So you got to ask yourself, what's the bigger picture here? What's Tether playing at?
Right. It's more than just Bitcoin.
Way more. And keep in mind, all of this is happening while Bitcoin's been on a roller coaster recently, just hovering around $84,000.
So the timing is interesting for sure.
Super interesting. So today we're going to break it all down. We're going to look at what this Bitcoin buying spree means for the whole crypto market, but we're also going to explore how it fits into Tether's grand scheme, with all these other moves they're making.
Makes you think.
It does. So first things first, let's talk about what this says about institutional confidence in Bitcoin.
Okay, so when a giant like Tether steps in and drops $735 million on 8,888 Bitcoin.
That's specific.
It is, right? They could have bought any amount.
Yeah.
But they chose that number.
8,888.
Can't you wonder?
It does.
Right.
Some sources say the number 8's like a lucky number in some cultures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so maybe they're sending a message, Like, hey, we're super bullish on Bitcoin's future.
Interesting.
Right. It's not just a random number.
It's a statement.
It is. And to become one of the top Bitcoin holders with a single purchase,
That's unheard of.
totally unheard of. It shows they have serious conviction.
They're not messing around.
Nope, they're betting big on Bitcoin. And it kind of puts them in the same league as all those other institutional players who are seeing Bitcoin as like digital gold.
Right. The new safe haven asset.
Exactly. And think about this. They were buying Bitcoin while it was holding steady above $80,000.
So they weren't waiting for a dip to buy cheap.
Nope. They believe it's going higher.
They see more upside.
Definitely. So for everyone else in the market, this is a huge signal.
It's like a green light.
Yeah, it's like Tether's saying, hey guys, Bitcoin's legit. This is the real deal.
It legitimizes the whole space.
It does. Especially coming from a player as big as Tether.
Exactly. They have so much influence.
They do. So that's the confidence piece. But there's another side to this whole thing.
Diversification.
Right. It's not just about being bullish on Bitcoin. It's about Tether protecting themselves.
Managing risk.
Yeah, exactly. Like they dominate the stablecoin market.
With over 65%.
I know, crazy, right? But that also makes them a target.
Regulators are watching.
No, and those regulations, they're getting tighter, especially for stablecoins.
Like with the MiCA regulations in Europe.
Right, and even Binance is having to adjust how they handle USDT because of that.
That's a big deal.
Huge. So by putting some of their eggs in the Bitcoin basket, Tether's creating a safety net.
A hedge against all that uncertainty.
Exactly, because Bitcoin, it plays by a different set of rules.
Less regulatory pressure.
For now, at least.
Right. Who knows what the future holds?
Exactly. But for now, it gives them some breathing room. And it's not just about avoiding the bad stuff either.
There's the potential for growth, too.
Right. Like they're stable coins. They're designed to stay stable, obviously.
Pegged to the dollar.
Right. But
Yeah.
Bitcoin can go to the moon.
It's known for its volatility.
That's the point. So by holding Bitcoin Tethers, not just protecting their downside, they're giving themselves a chance to really boost their bottom line.
Smart move.
Super smart. And it all ties into this bigger diversification strategy they've got going on.
They're spreading their bets.
They are agriculture media Bitcoin. It's like they're building this fortress.
Making themselves resilient.
Exactly. So no matter what happens in one area, they're covered.
That's the goal.
It is. Now let's talk about the timing of this big Bitcoin buy.
Okay.
They didn't just buy Bitcoin randomly. They did it right when Bitcoin broke through $84,000.
After weeks of just kind of hanging around.
Exactly. So what does that tell us?
Well, for starters, it shows they're paying attention to market trends.
They're not just throwing money around.
No, they're strategic about it.
And when a big institutional investor like Tether makes a move like that, it usually means they've done their homework.
They have analysts crunching numbers.
Right. They're not just guessing.
Okay.
So the fact that they bought right then.
Suggests they think Bitcoin's going up.
Exactly. Like they're betting on a bull market.
That's the implication.
It is. So to sum it all up for you guys.
Our listeners.
Yeah, our listeners. Tether's Bitcoin play, it's a big deal.
Multifaceted.
For one, it shows serious institutional belief in Bitcoin as a long-term store of value. Like, Tether's not alone in this.
A lot of big players are thinking the same way.
Right. And secondly, it's a savvy move to diversify their portfolio.
Hedge against those regulatory risks.
Exactly. And finally, the timing, well, that could be a sign that they see a bright future for Bitcoin.
Bullish.
Bullish. So hopefully this deep dive has given you a better understanding of what's going on.
It's a complex situation.
It is, but we tried to break it down for you guys, give you the key takeaways.
The insights.
Exactly. And you came here because you want to stay ahead of the curve,
Informed.
right? So here's something to think about as we wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Tether's a big player, right?
Huge.
What happens when they keep diversifying?
Beyond Bitcoin?
Yeah, like they're already in agriculture and media. What if they keep going?
Into other industries.
Exactly. How does that change the whole crypto landscape?
Interesting question.
Right. And what about the relationship between crypto and traditional finance?
Will the lines blur even more?
They might. And what does all this mean for everyday people who are just starting to learn about crypto?
Will it become more mainstream? More
Oh,
accessible?
It could. So, yeah, lots to think about.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of crypto.
See ya!